Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of Tiger Eye Talk for 2024. I'm super excited to be here today, and my guest is Amy Garvey, who is kind of a special person to me, and I'll explain that as well. I'm going to introduce her a little bit and then let her introduce herself further as well. But Amy hails from Spartanburg, South Carolina, and has over 20 years of experience in copywriting. She knows what to do with words, like some of us don't. What started as helping a recently graduated law student put together his brochures pre-internet has parlayed into a full-fledged career. Amy now writes for most any types of businesses, putting together websites, landing pages, newsletters, email campaigns, press releases, blog posts, and everything else in between. In addition to writing, she also enjoys the outdoors, often camping or hiking with her dog, Saluda, and she's a whitewater kayaker. She crochets, she loves to garden and cook. Perhaps above all else, she is an avid reader of both fiction and nonfiction. When she's not outdoors, you'll often find her curled in her favorite chair, reading a novel and sipping coffee. I'd also like to add that Amy is the copywriter on the Tiger Eye Solution team. So we are really happy to have her as our guest today and happy to have her as a teammate. So Amy, welcome, and you can further introduce yourself. Go ahead.
Thank you, Lisa. Excuse me, that pretty well covered the gamut. I love to write, and I get that love from my love for reading. I just have a love for words in general. I subscribe to the word of the day and try to learn something new every day when I can. I think that we all have that opportunity each morning when we wake up and should take full advantage of it. And I'm thrilled to be here.
Awesome. So how did you actually get started with your writing? When did you decide that that's what you wanted to do?
Well, I really loved writing when I took several writing courses in college, but I didn't know what I wanted to do with it in terms of making a career. I did not want to go into journalism and try to chase down stories and be a news hound or something like that. And I didn't want to write the great American novel either. But I figured there had to be something in between. And as you said, a friend of mine had just graduated law school and he needed help with his brochures. So I helped him draft those and get all the wording for that and for some standardized business letters and that sort of thing put together. And by word of mouth from him, I started getting in other people who said, hey, you did a great job with that. Can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? And over the past 20 so years, it has just become a full-time career. I've worked other jobs in the meantime, of course, because you've got to have a full support until it reached a point at which I felt that I could fully support myself, which was back in 2020. So I've been doing nothing but this full time for goodness, going on 4 years now that it's 2024. And I absolutely love it.
Awesome. What is the number one takeaway that your clients experience when they're working with you?
I think really just how to more succinctly express themselves in writing. A lot of people get really bogged down when they think about writing for their businesses in particular. They want to sound professional, but they don't want to sound so professional that it's staid. Right. They also want to be approachable so that people do want to do business with them. And how do you find that happy medium? And that's what I help them to do.
Awesome. What's the best compliment you've ever received from a client after working with their words and working your magic?
Oh, my goodness. One said that I literally saved her business. She had 4 registrants for this thing that she was putting on, and her registration doubled after we worked together within 2 weeks. Awesome. She had been promoting it for about 3 months and had only gotten 4 clients. And to have it doubled, she said, just kind of took her past that breaking point so that she could then move forward. That one made me feel really good because I like to help people. So
absolutely. That is awesome. What is your biggest pet peeve?
Oh my goodness. My biggest pet peeve, I think, is probably people not bothering to use spell check and Grammarly. because not everybody knows the difference between your and you are, the contraction your,
Yeah.
or there and there, different things like that really stick stick under my skin.
That's a good pet peeve, especially when you're a word person, right?
Yeah.
So how would your family describe what you do?
My family would say that I'm a really good writer, although they don't quite know even exactly what I do. I've talked to my mom, probably knows the best because she is my second set of eyes. I guess that would be another takeaway. I tell people to always, always, always get a second set of eyes on your work. It doesn't matter if it's your fourth grade child. Anybody above a fourth grade reading level should be able to read your work and see anything glaringly obvious that you may have missed. And it doesn't matter how good you are, when you've read over a piece 18 times because you're the one writing it, you're going to miss something.
Yes.
So my mother is my second set of eyes. She would probably just say that I write for other people's businesses to make them look good.
Awesome. Awesome. What is the most important lesson you've learned over your career as an entrepreneur?
As an entrepreneur, probably to stay on top of your finances, to really track your spending so that you know how you need to appropriate funds, to file your taxes quarterly. That side of the business, which is not something that I enjoy and not something that I had counted on, because when I was doing it as a sideline gig, it was not really anything that I had to worry too much about. But when I parlayed that into a full-time career, I really needed to stay on top of the finances. And the first year was kind of muddled. And after that, I went, okay, we're going to do something different this time around.
Get all your T's crossed and all your I's dotted, right?
Yes.
Awesome.
And hire an accountant.
Yes, that's a good avenue to take as well.
Mm-hmm.
What time of day do you get your best work done?
Strangely enough, between about 5 and 8 a.m. I'm an early
up at that hour.
I'm an early riser. I'm up at about 4, and I have an hour of me time during which I do a little yoga and read my Bible and do my devotionals and read emails and just, piddly things like that, get stuff out of the way. And then I'm ready to go to work. And between 5 and 8 a.m., there's nobody to distract or pings or things interrupting. And so I get a lot more done between 5 and 8, pretty much than I do all day long the rest of the day.
Awesome. Awesome. Mm-hmm. What is your favorite productivity hack for entrepreneurs?
That's going to be to get up about an hour earlier than you do. It doesn't need to be 4 a.m., but if you're getting up at 6, if you get up at 5 and give yourself time to yourself,
that's
to
awesome.
Do something that you enjoy and something that's productive, even if it's just to sit and read for a little while, have your cup of coffee or tea, whatever that may be. But I have found working for yourself, it's very easy, especially in the afternoons, to keep going. And sometimes to even carry that into the evening. You may stop for a quick dinner break and then go right back to work. And that can get exhausting and a little bit frustrating after a while because you feel like you never take the time to do anything for yourself. But if you get up an hour earlier, you have that time. You make the time just for you. So
that's great advice. Awesome advice. What's one thing your business successful venture did that you did not expect?
Something that it did successfully that I didn't expect. I guess making money, to be honest. I knew that I could make money at it, but I didn't know that I could support myself. And so when I took off with it full time in 2020, it was still a pretty big gamble. The writing hadn't changed at all in the past 20 years. Good writing is still good writing. And you write a press release the same way, you write a blog post the same way, but the means of getting business had changed dramatically. Instead of being word to mouth and networking meetings where you hand out business cards and things, it was a lot more about networking online, direct messaging, that type of work. And
2020 really changed a lot of things.
It really did.
Business world.
In many ways. Yeah. Awesome. And I shifted into full-time right before really COVID hit full speed. So yeah, it was a big shift.
Awesome. And that was great that you could make that shift even prior to COVID happening. That's
Yes.
awesome. What is something people seem to misunderstand about you or what you do?
I think they think that I schedule time to work and I sit down and I write. And that is just not the way that it goes. Usually I carry my phone with me everywhere, not so that I can be on it all the time. People who spend time with me will notice that I'm very rarely on it when I'm with them, because when I'm with someone, I try to give them my attention, not my phone.
Right.
But I take it with me all the time because I can take notes on it. And I especially enjoy voice to text. That makes it a whole lot easier because ideas will come to me when I'm folding laundry or doing the dishes or playing with the dog or chatting with a friend. Something will pop into my head and I go, oh, I got to get that real quick. You know, you don't want to have to run and grab a sheet of paper. By then, you probably will forget what it was you were thinking of. So I just pull out my phone and jot it down.
Awesome. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So give us some tips for those of us that, maybe haven't yet hired a copywriter to do our copy or write our copy for us. Give us a few tips of what we could actually, do to help better our copy.
Wow, that's a big one. I used to put on a week-long challenge called "Write How to Write Your Own Copy," and so there are a ton of things that you can do. 5 hours worth of material that I cover in that week. It's hard to pick one thing out. Probably some of the things that I've mentioned is getting a second set of eyes, using Grammarly and WordCheck if you're writing in Word or Google Workspace. In terms of the actual writing itself, it's to not beat yourself up when nothing comes to you, just to move on about your daily tasks and think about it, let it float and sort of marinate in the back of your mind, because 9 times out of 10, something will come to you. It's usually not at a convenient time, but something will come to you. When you sit down and try to force yourself to write, you'll often wind up just staring at a blank page, and doing that for hours on end doesn't do you a lick of good.
No.
So it's better just to keep moving and maybe remind yourself throughout the day, okay, what can I say about this? What do I think about this? Another thing would be do your research. There are places like Answer the Public where you can go and find out what are the trends that people are seeking in whatever topic you're trying to write about. You're not in it by yourself. There are a million different resources right at your fingertips if you've got a computer or a phone.
Yep.
So look things up so that you can get ideas, so you can see what people have already written about, see if there's some big gaping hole of information that you think needs to be covered. That's probably a really good place to start.
Yes, that is great. Very, very good. If you were working with someone who's writing a book, what kind of tips would you give them if someone's possibly thinking maybe 2024 is going to be their year to write a book? What's some advice you may give them that they may want to, some of the research tips maybe they want to do prior to starting, whether it's it could be a book about themselves or a book about their business. It could be, an array of different topics.
Right. I don't know that I would have as many research tips for somebody because it's going to be specific to what you're writing. If it's a book about yourself, you're really not going to need to do that much research, I wouldn't imagine. A book about your business, you may need to do some. It depends on how long you've been doing it, how experienced you feel. If it's a book about something else entirely, particularly nonfiction, you will need to research pretty heavily because you don't want to reinvent the wheel. You don't want to rewrite something that somebody else has already written, not only for copyright infringement, but because things tend to get kind of boring if somebody's doing their own research later and they find your book and they say, well, this has everything that such and such has in it. They're not going to bother reading it.
True.
And the objective in writing a book, hopefully, is to read it, not just. But I would give one piece of advice, which is hire an editor really early on, because an editor is going to help you organize your thoughts. They can help you organize chapters and ideas. You can work hand in hand with an editor. You don't have to wait until you're done and then hand over this massive manuscript and go, okay, fix it.
That's a lot.
You can play back and forth as you're working with an editor, and they can say, oh, have you thought of this? Maybe you should try that. It can be a really big help because they're looking at it from a reader's perspective, not from a writer's perspective.
So is that a service you also provide, editing, proofreading?
Yes, proofreading and editing is something that I do as well.
Awesome. What other tips or information would you like to share with our audience?
Oh my goodness. Let's see. One thing is, if you are stuck in your writing, especially for a business, is to think of storytelling. And one of my favorites is the rainstorm. And I think of Bounty paper towels when I think of this. They do it perfectly in their commercials, where there's the guy sitting there working on, or the kid at the end of the computer, at the end of the island in the kitchen working on his laptop, and Dad's standing over there holding a glass of grape juice, and sister comes in with a soccer ball and bumps Dad's arm, and this grape juice spills, and this horrible storm comes in, of tragedy, impending tragedy, and Bounty paper towels to the rescue. So how can you make your business come across like Bounty paper towels? How can you be the hero of your own story?
That's awesome.
That one's helpful.
Yes, very much so. We all need to be the Bounty paper towels, for sure.
Yes.
For sure. I want to say hello to Robert, who is joining us live. Thank you so much, Robert Jordan, for joining us today. Amy, I want to thank you. This is, oh my goodness, been really, really great. How can people contact you if they'd like to learn more or possibly, utilize some of the services you offer?
Sure. The best way to reach me is by email at info@AG CopyWrite, and that's spelled CopyWrite.com, or you can visit my website at agcopywrite.com.
Awesome. And again, like I said before, Amy is also part of the Tiger Eye Solution team. So you can contact either one of us.
Yes.
We can get you get you the help or get your questions answered, whatever the case may be, for all your word issues. Amy knows words. She knows how to use words, implement words, write words, all the things about words. So she is our word person, and we love her for that. If you do have any questions about anything that Amy has shared today, reach out to one of us or post them in the comments below this video. We will get those questions to Amy for sure and have her answer your questions for you. Amy, any last words you'd like to share?
Really just what a pleasure it's been to work with TES. I've enjoyed getting to know Lisa. We've been working together, I think, for 2 or 3 years now.
Yes.
And it's really opened my eyes to some new possibilities, and we've been able to share experiences and work. And if you need help with anything in running your business, from accounting to software to event planning, get in touch with Lisa, because either she or someone on her team will be able to help you out.
Well, thank you for that.
Absolutely.
Thank you, everyone. This is our first episode for 2024 of Tiger Eye Talk. We are also looking for more guests for our Tiger Eye Talk during the month of year of 2024. Excuse me. So if you're interested in being a guest on Tiger Eye Talk, please do reach out, and we can get that set up for you. So until next month, thank you, everyone, for being here, whether you're here live. Thank you, Robert, or watching this later on the replay. We'll see you next month.